Gabe Blackmon. I'm from Texas, and I graduated in March of 23.
Gabe, what shift were you on?
I was on third shift with you, probably the best instructors there ever is.
Man, I appreciate it. I'm just out here trying to do my best. What made you want to be a welder, Gabe?
I left school when I was about 16 and started working, and my first job was doing metal buildings and mainly structural welding and stuff like that. That's how I kind of got my foot in the door, and then after that, I just kind of stuck with it and started going to shutdowns, turnarounds, did a little bit of labor work, mostly welding and cutting stuff though, fabricating a lot, and I just wanted to stick with it, so decided to go to school and learn how to do everything I needed to do.
Right, yeah. Yeah, moving from structural to pipe is a big difference.
It was a
So
pretty big learning curve.
a lot of structural guys, they give pipe guys a hard time, but I mean, in all reality, if you can weld a piece of pipe, you can definitely weld some structural.
Oh yeah.
Just like yourself, I did a little structural when I first got out of trade school myself, and I-beam ain't too bad to weld up, but when you're welding on a piece of 30-inch pipe, it's a little bit different story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a big difference between a mag test and an X-ray, that's for sure.
All day long.
Yeah. Where are you at right now, and what are you working on currently?
Right now I'm waiting on a shutdown to start over here in Midlothian at a Gerdau steel mill. It starts on Monday. It's about a 45-day shutdown. We'll be on it, and then I think after that we're going to Ohio. I just come back from Kansas not too long ago.
It's definitely pretty flat out there in Kansas, ain't it?
Oh yeah.
I'm originally from Missouri, and not once in my entire life have I hired out in Missouri, Nebraska, or Kansas.
That we're or it's a company that was down in Texas, but we're going to all these plants that they have contracts with, doing all their pipe runs, hot oil lines, stuff like that.
How would your boss describe you as an employee?
If he needs something to get done, he knows it'll get done.
I agree with you 100%. And looking back at my bosses, they everybody calls it the welder's mentality, but at the end of the day, we're the ones that just drove 12 hours across the country to maybe have a job.
Yeah,
So I know a lot of people think welders are ungrateful or don't want to do nothing, but spend a lot of time and money in perfecting our skills just so we can crawl down in that mud and make that weld.
yeah.
Yeah, they call an operator. He's got a job when he shows up, and they'll give him 2 weeks screwing stuff up.
Oh yeah. I was
But
halfway to Arkansas for a job, supposed to test the next day and everything. I got right about to Texarkana, got a call. Hey, we had a guy test in. We don't need you no more.
oh man, them are the rough ones right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll make you definitely not want to go back and work for that contractor again.
we had some words.
Oh, I would bet. What is the most money you've made in a week since you've been out of school?
I haven't made anything less than $3,500 a week since I left school.
Man, that's pretty good, especially how old are you now? Like 22, 23?
23 years old. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
23 years old making 3,500 a week take home. That's pretty hard to beat.
Yes, sir. Want to say about 9 months after school, I bought a brand new truck, put a lot of money down on it. Got my payments low, stuff like that. I just saved and saved and saved until my truck couldn't get me to the next job. So I said, screw it, it's time to go get a new one.
Obviously, right now you're out there running a rig, but if you had to give advice to a student that's fixing to graduate and wanting to put a rig together, what would you think about that?
Man, save your money. Don't go out and buy the most expensive tools or go buy tools that you don't need. Keep your basics, know what you're going to need for for what you're going to be doing. And then also, whenever you are out on a job, look and kind of see what everybody else has in their box or, little stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with going out and single hand welding for a little bit, then buying your rig and starting slow. We were on a job with a guy the other day. He had a Ford Ranger with a Miller Bobcat in it, making $48 an hour, just like the rest of us out here in $100,000 rigs.
I don't know if you remember my truck or not, but it was a 91. That thing been paid for
Oh
multiple.
yeah,
In my opinion, I'm sure you probably feel the same now that you've been on the road for a couple of years, is that a new truck is a huge investment, but it's pretty much something you got to have. When your truck's making money, hourly money, it's a lot easier to justify going and spending $80,000 on a truck.
just in rig rent, that pays my truck payment, insurance, and camper itself.
I mean, when I was rig welding, which has been out for almost 3 years now, I think the average was 15 and the most I made was 17. So I think it went up a little bit since then, but I think the average usually hangs around like 15, $17 an hour. That's all the hours that you work. There's no overtime on it, but it is tax free, so that's pretty nice too. You can do a lot more with $15 an hour when it's tax free.
Oh yeah,
We preach worth ethic, accountability, and integrity here at Western Welding Academy. How important are those out in the work field?
those are the main things. Half the time, if you can just show up to a job, you'll have a job for as long as they need you there. I mean, if you go out there and preach to the choir that, I can do this and that and all this, blah, 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 and you get out there and can't show out, they're going to kick you to the curb. They don't care.
Yeah, so I know when I was pretty young off in my career, I was still trying to make a name for myself, and I definitely wasn't the slickest or the quickest, but when it came down, if hey, I need somebody to crawl down here and make this weld in this mud hole, it's chest deep water, I was usually the first one down in there. Just not because I was job scared, but I was still trying to make a name for myself and prove that I
Oh,
was
yeah.
willing to pretty much do about anything.
There's a weld to be made that no one else wants to do on the job. 9 times out of 10, send me down there. I'll do it. I'll get it done. Or tell safety to turn away, turn his back so I can get this done real quick.
It's always fun to tell a safety guy to go to the porta john for 15 minutes while you get something done real quick.
Oh, yeah.
How important was it for you to network with the students that were here and the instructors?
Man, if you don't network while you're there, good luck getting your foot in the door or finding any decent work other than a shop, man. If you don't make friends or, talk to people or anything like that, it's real hard to find work and it's a cutthroat business. And I mean, you can have somebody somewhere and, hey, what about this guy? Oh, I really don't care for him too much, whatever. That might burn your name right then and there, and you might not have a shot. So, I mean, try to be friends with everybody or be friendly and keep people in your back pocket.
Yeah, I know one thing I always really hit on was make sure you got everybody's phone number.
Yeah,
I don't matter if you got their Snapchat or their Facebook or anything, because you need to have that phone number and don't
yeah.
ever. What specifically made you choose Western Welding Academy?
My little brother was supposed to go with me, and so I was wanting to go with him, and he ended up getting in a wreck and wasn't able to go. So I had the option to choose another school closer to home or stuff like that. I felt like Western Welding Academy was the best school to go to for me. The instructors that they had there and the way that they were willing to learn and just not only teach the students, but involve themselves with them. And I felt like Western Welding Academy was a good choice.
Yeah, so the trade school that I went to, I think, was just about 6 hours away from my hometown. Also, close enough where I could make it a day trip if I had to, but far enough where mom and dad couldn't just pop in on me.
Oh yeah, I was 18 hours away from home
Yeah,
when I
that's
was up there.
that's sure a haul right there for sure.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah. So how old were you when you came to school?
I was 21.
21. So I guess you'd probably been out of the house for a hot minute by then, but was it difficult to leave your family, leave your hometown, move to a new place, or is that something you were kind of looking forward to?
It was definitely different. I've lived in the same town my whole life, so I've never been, the new kid or anything like that. So definitely going up there, leaving my hometown, it was bittersweet. I was ready for new beginnings, ready to kind of, get out on my own, not have, mom and dad, hey, what are you doing? This and that. I enjoyed being by myself and growing up.
Yeah, being that far away from home, you don't really have a choice, do you?
I mean, it's fight or flight at that point.
It's definitely something we try to really let our students know before they even come to our trade school, is that mommy and daddy ain't here to hold your hand no more.
Nah,
And I'm sure you can test on some of them conversations that we had at that table that well, it's
yeah,
as real as it's going to get. So,
yeah, it's gonna get real. No one's here to hold your hand, and if you don't want it, no one's gonna hand it out to you.
what were some of your highlights while you're here at Western Welding Academy? What's something that just really stuck out in your mind when you think back?
Whenever you cook for us for Christmas,
Oh, yeah.
the barbecue, yes, sir. Probably some of the best barbecue I've ever had. Man, we had so many kids at our class at that point. I mean, I don't think I knew everyone's names. I tried to. I try to, say hi to everybody, but it was cool. Everyone in our shift just kind of sitting down, eating, talking, and just it was like a big family, and no one had family there.
Right. Yeah. So it's definitely something we try to do. Even now we try to get at least once a quarter, at least once every 6 months. That way hit all the groups. That was something I really took pride in was trying to feed you guys at least twice in 6 months while you're here. Just kind of you're a long way away from mom's home cooking, and I'm a long way from mom, but I can barbecue a little bit. Being from Missouri and living down in Texas for 7 years, I think I almost got her figured out. What was the hardest part while you were here at school, and how'd you overcome it?
Stainless TIG. I wanted to get done with school and get back to working fast because I had a whole rig whenever I showed up. I had been rig welding for a little bit. Man, once I got on TIG, I just wanted to get done with it, and I thought that it would come real easy. And I mean, I still struggle with it today, but you pushed me harder than anyone else at that school did because you knew that I hated it and I wanted to get to downhill.
I think I remember having that conversation with you about you wanting to skip stainless and just go right to downhill.
Yeah,
As a rig welder myself, and now I'm sure you figured it out also, that it's pretty important to know how to weld that stainless even as a rig welder.
I sent you a text probably about a year ago. It was like, thank you for pushing me on stainless because that's pretty much all I've been doing for the past couple months.
It's something that not a lot of rig welders can just go out there and do. If you're second generation or third generation pipeliner like you, man, you probably be able to downhill like nobody's business. But when it comes time with that TIG torch, it's a whole different ball game, and people have a
Oh
hard
yeah.
time understanding that. So you don't want to be just a one trick pony. What would you tell somebody that was on the fence about coming to Western Welding Academy?
Don't sit there and waste your time partying and stuff like I did. Uh, I was pretty irresponsible there for a little bit. Go in on different shifts and get a couple extra hours or whatever. Stay a couple hours on another shift and stay in your booth. Don't be out of your booth just sitting there, going and everyone else to see what they're doing and stuff like that. That ain't none of your business because you ain't there to hang out with, Billy Bob. You're out there to learn how to do a trade and go make some money.
So I know, especially us, we're huge on social media and we put a lot of glory into it and make it look pretty easy, but there's a lot of time it takes to develop a new skill.
I think I was on TIG for probably 2 months. I blew through every bit of stick welding, but that TIG it set me back,
Yeah.
and I wasn't expecting it to.
Right. Yeah, you gotta
I
wire.
remember pulling 16-hour shifts up there just trying to get off of it so I could get on the downhill and graduate.
Right. Right.